I'm Michelle. I'm working with Incredible Edible Lambeth, and here are the winter vegetables that will hopefully have arrived at your homes. We've got spring onions, we've got spring cabbage, mizuna, and spinach, and I'm going to show you how to plant them. I'm going to be planting in a container because I do not have a in-ground spot for mine. And the first thing you want to do is water your seedlings really well. So I've made my own little watering can because I don't have a rose on the end of my watering can to make it gentle. So this gives them sort of a gentle watering. And I'll let that sink in. Hi. Lots of water. There we go. I've already prepared a spot for them, and I'm going to be planting the cabbage and some onions and maybe a little bit of spinach, and I'm going to do it in one. It doesn't have as much space, so they might not get a very big cabbage head, but it'll look quite pretty planting several different kinds together. So I'm going to start with the cabbage, and I was going to use something to get them out. So I'm actually going to be very careful, and I'm going to push them up from the bottom because they're all individual here. So you can also use, I'm going to be very gentle not to hurt the roots in the bottom. Slide it out. I'm going to use my finger, and I should have my gardening gloves on, but I forgot them. So here we go. Careful. Getting as many of those roots as possible and keeping as much of the soil as possible. You see I've got all those roots in the nice soil there. And I'm not going to handle the stem of it because I don't want to break it or squash the stem too much, because if you squash the stem too much, it's the same thing as the nutrients won't come up to the rest of the plant. And I don't want to plant it. You want to make a little hole about the size of and depth of the seedlings container, and then gently place it in and put your soil in or tuck it around. And don't be tempted to use the soil to strengthen the plant. The plant will strengthen itself as it's exposed to the wind. Not too much wind when they're little. You don't want too much exposure for them. So then goes the cabbage back. Girls, get out of there. There you go. And then I thought I'd do some spring onion because they don't require quite so much room. So the cabbage will hopefully take up more of that space and leave some room for the spring onions. And just like with the cabbage, you're going to tease them out a little bit. Push it a little when it comes. Come on out. There we go. All those nice roots down on the bottom. And you can even, with these ones, separate them up a little bit. Back a little bit. Back. And we'll give them a spot over here. There's quite a few of them in each one. Put a little bit here. It's sort of gentle operation. There's lots of little seedlings here. And gently move them apart, keeping their roots all intact. Lie them around, because each one of these little seedlings can become a nice spring onion for you. And tuck them in, being careful not to squash them. Very gentle. There you go, little spring onions. One together there, and then I'll send you guys an update when all of this is kind of grown in a little bigger, which might be kind of slow for the next little while, showing what it looks like together, because I think it'll form kind of a pretty little container. Vegetables don't just have to be functional, they can be quite pretty. In they go. There's some spring onions in that clump, and then I'm going to put in a bit of spinach. And I might even put in 2 little spinach plants. These are actually giant spinach, so I might be ambitious putting 2 together here with the cabbage, but we'll give it a go anyway. The bonsai giant spinach. And I'll separate those out and see how they're kind of tucked in together. So just do it gently. Push up. There's actually, these containers have little holes in the bottom, which are great for pushing them out with your finger from the bottom. There it goes. There's one. And again, again, make the hole about the size of the spinach. Maybe I'll just put in one. Lots of room here. There. So now these little plants have lots of room and they'll come up really nicely together. And when you're all done that, all tucked in, the last thing you want to do is give them a bit more water. And after that, actually you should do one more thing, and that's offer them a bit of protection from the animals that love to eat them, like foxes. And if they fall over, just tuck them back upright, because they're very gentle and they're just tucked in a little bit. Put the lid back on for the compressors. That's better. There we go. I'll show you what I'm going to use for these little seedlings to protect them for now, which is just an old like cage that I happen to have around. You might have something. Oh, I missed this one. This one in. There we go. You might have some chicken wire would be good, or other netting, just something to keep them out away level established. And I have an old cage that I'm just going to tuck around them carefully, all in, just for the little bit while they're getting going. Once they're a bit bigger, they will be left alone a little more. There you have it. Happy growing. Thanks very much.